Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Redirecting, and in this video I am going to be talking about how we, as so-called black people, tear each other down brick by brick. Now, all of these other nations, they have an understanding about some things that we just can't seem to grasp. We think that if we tear each other down, that's going to improve who we are as an individual. If I come after this person or go after that person, or if I decimate him or decimate her, then it's going to improve me as a person. What you're actually doing is tearing your own self down, because most people don't want to even associate with that type of mentality. They will distance themselves from you too, the person who is doing the tearing down. Many of you know that process as the crabs in the barrel. Okay, we hear that reference many times. Crabs in a barrel, where you will see one black person who may have struck it rich. Okay, maybe they won the lottery. This is not an endorsement for the lottery, by the way. I'm just telling you how many people come into a lot of money, and some people have won the lottery. And what you'll see is a lot of people who will gather around that person, milk them dry, and when the well has run dry, they bounce. Or if they are not getting what they want from you, then they begin to tear you down brick by brick, doing whatever they can to hurt you. What kind of mentality thinks like that? Not a spiritual mind at all, but a person who has a wicked mind. A person who wants to tear down another person brick by brick is a person who cannot be trusted. It's a person who is not in any type of spiritual alignment with the Most High at all. Okay? And I've heard this said many times that so-called black people are the most spiritually connected people on the planet. As a matter of fact, we said that in one of our documentaries because it is true. Overall, when you look at our people around the world, we are very spiritually connected to the Most High. But what has happened is the cares of this life and of this world have chipped away at us. Okay, and have broken us down brick by brick. And so we take that brick by brick mentality and we use it against each other. So instead of trying to help build one another up brick by brick, instead of trying to build one another up and help stabilize us as a people, instead of us doing this, we take the opposite route. Instead of building up, we tear down. Okay, brick by brick, or in some cases you can get 2 bricks off. Some people will knock 2 bricks off of you at a time. But that is a mindset that needs to be dealt with, family. It's a mindset that needs to be dealt with because it is destructive. It is a destructive mentality. And usually people who have that mentality, they have a hard time seeing that that is what they possess. They believe that they are doing something righteous to try to tear another person down, or they don't think on it at all. It's just something that's so natural to them. Just as natural as breathing, they can be a liar, they can be a hypocrite, they can be someone who has that crabs in a barrel mentality. I've heard people say this, oh, you think you're something. Oh, she thinks she's cute. He thinks he looks fine. Usually that is what that person is thinking. And so they'll project their thoughts onto you and say, oh, you think you're fine, don't you? Oh, you think you're handsome, don't you? Oh, you think you're something, don't you? Usually, well, sometimes it's not that the person is thinking that, it's that you're thinking it. And so instead of giving honor to whom honor is due, or congratulating or being happy for or saluting or anything like that, we choose to tear each other down brick by brick. And as other nations look on, they laugh at us, they ridicule us. As a matter of fact, recently we saw a comment from a Gentile. In the comment, they said that you all hurl insults at each other all the time. You all talk down on each other and mistreat each other all the time. So what are you complaining about? They feel justified in treating us the way that they do, although there is no justification because not all of us are that way. But they feel justification in doing it. They look for justification. And when they look among us, they look at us and they say, okay, this is what's happening between you all. So how can you even complain about what we are doing to you because you are doing it to yourselves? That's ridiculous. We should not even give them anything. But it's unfortunate that in the Black community, there is no love between all of us. Some of us have that love for each other regardless. You know, some of us understand that we are to have this love and compassion for each other and that we are supposed to look out for one another in the right way, in righteousness. I'm not saying uphold somebody in their mess, okay? Not saying that at all. Some of us understand what it means to look out for each other, but others don't. Some of us don't understand that. This is why we have this crabs in a barrel mentality, this tear each other down brick by brick mentality. When you have such a mentality, this is why you have so much dysfunction in the Black community. This is why you will have evil in cahoots with evil to tear down someone else. You'll have people coming together. Now let me tell you some of the worst evil I've heard, okay? Now, we knew a brother long time ago. As a matter of fact, this is someone my husband knew, okay? He knew this brother, and this man, we ran into him after years of my husband not seeing him, and it was through a real estate transaction that we ended up running into him. He was actually selling a property. We didn't know who it was until we got to the closing table. And when he shared his story, he spoke with my husband afterward. When he shared his story, I said, this is pathetic. It's a shame when the enemies that you have are those within your own household. In this particular case, the brother had told us that he had a real estate transaction that he was closing on, and he was going to put a substantial amount of money in his pocket at closing. And his wife knew about it. So what the wife did, and I'm confused by this, I don't get this, y'all. What the wife did was she got a friend of hers to help set her husband up. So when he closed and he had this check, and he deposited this check or whatever, he got his money or what have you, the wife arranged to have him robbed. Had a friend set this up. In the robbery, during the robbery, all three of them were shot. One of them shot him. He ended up having to shoot both of them. One of them died. One of them survived. I believe it was his wife that died. He didn't do any time because it was a robbery. But the thing that I cannot wrap my brain around is the fact that his wife was a part of this. How does a wife go there? Now, I know how, because you have some marriages to where my money is mine, your money is mine, or my money is mine, yours is yours. You see, you have marriages that are not really set up the way they're supposed to be, right? And so this was obviously one of those cases to where she felt like she wasn't going to get any of that money unless she robbed him. So to have him set up like this, he ended up, when we saw him at the closing table, he shared the story. He didn't do any time because it was self-defense. But he was walking with a limp and a walking stick because that was from the injury from being shot. But I said, how can a wife be so cold as to set up her own husband to have him robbed in this way? So it's really shameful when we as a people have such a mentality that we will tear each other down brick by brick. Husbands against wives, wives against husbands, sister against sister, brother against brother, brother against sister, cousin against aunt, grandfather against grandmother, cousin against nephew. I mean, whatever the situation may be, family against family. Black person against black person. Black man against black woman against black woman, black man against black man, and so on and so on. This mentality has messed us up so bad that I don't even know why we are still standing. If it wasn't for the grace of the Most High Yah, I don't even know how we still exist as a people, because the mentality has gotten out of hand. And it needs to stop. We see it play out every single day, to where we are tearing each other down brick by brick, and we think we're doing something righteous. This is why the Most High has a judgment slated for his people. And when it hits, it hits. We see it happen all the time. And it's a sad, very sad, unfortunate thing, because most of us just don't get it. We don't understand it. We think it's unfair. But it is what it is. And it's going to continue to be a judgment on the so-called black community until we finally get it. And I'm talking worldwide. Worldwide, we have problems, serious problems. And if we don't get ourselves together, like I say in so many of my broadcasts, we are going to be finished. This wicked mindset that our people have against each other, that evil eye that makes you conjure up wickedness in your heart against your brother and sister. Don't think for 1 minute that the Most High sits in approval for that. Don't think for 1 minute that he is not watching. When you have unrepentant sin and transgressions against your brother and sister, though you may have forgotten, or though you want to pretend like it's not there, the Most High is allowing those sins to build up on you, brick by brick. And when it's all said and done, if you don't get yourself right, he's going to keep on adding to it, and then it's all going to come tumbling down. With that, family, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.